Okay, so let us look at splitting the middle term method for the factorization of polynomials. Okay, so factorize 6x square minus, that is plus, okay, plus 17x plus 5. So our aim is to look for two numbers, okay, a and b, so that the product of those two numbers will be the product of the first and last terms, that is 6 and 5. So we are looking for two numbers whose product is 6 times 5, that is 30, and the sum of those two numbers must be the coefficient of the middle term. Okay, so we are looking for two numbers whose product is the product of the coefficients of the first and last term, and whose sum is the coefficient of the middle term. That is, we are looking for two numbers a and b such that a into b must be the coefficient of first and product of coefficient of first and last terms. That is, product should be 6 into 5, 30, and their sum, that is a plus b, must be 70. So 30, how do we write 30? In what all ways can we? What all numbers when multiplied gives 30? We have 1 into 30, but the sum is not 17. See, we have, if a is 1 and b is 30, product is 30 but the sum is not 70. Then we have minus 1 and minus 30, that is also not satisfying our condition. 3 into 10, product is 30 but sum is not 30. Minus 3 into minus 10 does not work. 6 into 5, product is 30 but the sum is only 11 and minus 11, that also does not. Then we have 2 into 15, that works because the product is 30 and the sum is 17. Okay, so this is our required numbers a and b. Then what do? We have 6x square plus 17x plus 15. So instead of that 17x, we split the middle term into 2. That is, we split the middle term into our numbers 15 and 2, or you can write 2 and 15 anyways, like you want. There is no proper order for this. So what we are doing here is we are splitting the middle term into the two numbers that we had found. Okay, then from the first term, see here I have a 3 common in the first two terms. Also I have a x common in the first two terms. So I take out the common 3x term. So what will remain inside? I'll have a 2x. Okay, because 3x into 2x is 6x square, and inside I'll have a 5 because 3x into 5 is 15x. Okay, so I factorize the first two terms, that is, I take out the common part and I have a 2x plus 5. So next what I want you to do is write the this is 2x plus 5, forgive me, this is 2x plus 5. So whatever you got inside the bracket of the first half, write the same thing inside a bracket in the second half. Now think about which number should you multiply outside so that you will get whatever is there in the second half. So here I have 2x plus 5, and with which number should I multiply to get 2x plus 5? I multiplied with 1, so I write plus 1. Okay, this is 2x plus 5. So this I have 3x times 2x plus 5 plus 1 times 2x plus 5. Okay, so I have a 2x plus 5 common, 2x plus 5 common. So I have a times b plus some c times b. So I am using the distributive law here. Okay, I am using the distributive law. So I take out the 2x plus 5 as the common term, and what I have inside the other bracket, I have a 3x plus 1. So the factors of the 6x square plus 17x plus 5 is 3x plus 1 plus 3x plus 1 into 2x plus 5. Okay, so let us recall how we did this. First we have the polynomial 6x square plus 17x plus 5. We have to look for two numbers a and b so that their product is the product of the coefficients of the first and last term, and their sum is the sum of and their sum is the coefficient of the middle term. So here we have the product is 30 and the sum is 17. So out of all the possible pairs, 2 and 15 are the required pairs. Then we split the middle term into 15 and 2. Then we take out the common factors from the first half. Okay, then whatever remains inside the bracket, I make a copy of that inside in the second half. Okay, 2x plus 5. Then I look for which number should I multiply so that I get the second half in the above part. So that is 1. So I have 2x plus 5, 2x plus 5 common here. So I can take out a 2x plus 5. What remains inside is there is a 3x remaining and a plus 1 remaining. So 3x plus 1 times 2x plus 5. So factorizing 6x square, this is plus 17x plus 5 will be 3x plus 1 times 2x plus 5. So I hope you understood the splitting the middle term method. So till now we have learned how to factorize quadratic polynomials or second degree polynomials. So we had two methods. One was the factor theorem method and the other was the splitting the middle term method. So now let us look at how to factorize cubic polynomials, that is polynomials of degree 3. So look at the polynomial x cube minus 23x square plus 142x minus 120. So since this is a cubic polynomial, this can be written in the form x minus a times x minus b times x minus c. That is, the factors will be of this form. So when I multiply this inside, okay, multiply the terms one by one, I'll have a constant term a into b into c. Okay, abc, and that abc here is 120. So a into b into c should give me 120 for a suitable a and b and c. So minus 120. So the possible options for a, b and c are plus or minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10. See, for example, 2 minus 3, I'm sorry, 2 minus 6 and 10. So 2 into minus 6 will be minus 12. Minus 12 times 10 will be minus 120. So I can make different possibilities. For example, I can take 1, 1, minus 20, because 1 into minus 120 will be minus 120. So I exactly don't know which is my a, b and c, but I can say for sure that the a, b and c are somewhere there inside these numbers. So I have to find out which one it is. So then since this is a cubic polynomial, I cannot use the splitting the middle term method, because here I cannot find the middle term. See, there is no middle term here. If there were three terms, the middle term was the second degree term, the term of degree 2, but here the middle term, there is no middle term. So what I have to do, I'll have to go back to our first factor theorem method. So I know that a, b and c are somewhere there inside these numbers. So I have to start using one number one by one each, and to find out which one is A, B and C. So what is the method? I'll have to use the trial and error method and check for P of X. So I'll have to substitute all those numbers one by one. So luckily when I put P of 1 itself, I get P of 1 is equal to 0, because I'll get 1 minus 23 plus 142 minus 120. So the sum will be 1 minus it will be minus 120 and plus 120. That will give me 0. So since P of 1 is 0, I can say that x minus 1 is a factor of this P of x. Okay, so I can say x minus 1 is a factor of, so I have found out x minus 1 is a factor of P of x. So now what is left? I'll have to find out the other two terms. Once that is done, my problem is solved. So we had seen that if x minus 1 is a factor of this P of x, okay, when I divide this P of x by x minus 1, I'll get a remainder 0. So what do? I divide the P of x by this x minus 1. Okay, so by which term should I multiply this divisor to get x cube? I multiply by x square. So x square, I'll get x cube minus x square. When I subtract, this becomes minus x cube, I get plus x square, and it will be minus 22x square. So I bring down a 142x. Now with which term should I multiply the divisor to get minus 22x square? I should multiply with minus 22x. So I'll get minus 22x square plus 22x. Okay, when I subtract, this becomes a plus 22x square, this becomes minus 22x, and it will be 120x. Now I bring down a minus 120. With which term should I multiply the divisor to get minus 120x? I should multiply with 120. So upon multiplication, I'll get 120x minus 120, and the remainder is 0. Okay, so x cube minus 23x square plus 142x minus 120 is x minus 1 into x square minus 22x plus 120. This is the dividend is equal to quotient into divisor plus remainder. So the remainder here is 0. Okay, so I can write P of x or the cubic polynomial in this form. So now I can use splitting the middle term method on this part to break it down into two linear factors. Okay, now I use the splitting the middle term method. So I'll have to look for two numbers A and B, so that the product is 1 into 120 and the sum is minus 22. So the possible options are, the correct option is minus 10 and minus 12. So this you'll have to think a bit, आपकी अंदाजा से करना होगा. Okay, you'll have to use it is a trial and error method, but once you practice it will come naturally to you. Okay, so I split the middle term now as minus 12x minus 10x. Okay, from this I take x from the first half as common, so I'll get an x minus 12. I write the x minus 12 again in the second part. Now with which number should I multiply x minus 12 to get minus 10x plus 120? I'll have to multiply minus 10. Okay, first take this bracket, write the same thing as in the second half, and then look for which number you should multiply to get the same thing as the second half. So it is minus 10. So I have x minus 12 common here, so I take that out. What remains? X minus 10. Okay, so x cube minus 23x square plus 142 is x minus 1 into x square minus 22x plus 120, which is x minus 1 into x minus 10 into x minus 12. Okay.